What is going on, guys? Just Connor here, bringing you guys back another deck profile. So first, I am sorry if I sound like crap and I look like crap because I feel like crap. My allergies are really messing with me, so sorry about that. Anyway, today is going to be Odd Eyes Pendulum Magicians. Great deck. People have been asking for an update, so I decided to do it. I really like the deck. It's a lot of fun. Pen best deck, obviously. Shout out to Trish. Not that he needs it from me. Anyway, I'd also like to apologize for my week-long absence. If you check out my earlier videos, I have a Mustang that I used to dedicate my channel to, and that really wasn't doing it for my channel. It wasn't fun because it was hard, and it was hard to be consistent and stuff like that. Anyway, so that car got painted, and this whole week has been a mess with me getting the money together to go pick it up and pay for it. Anyway, week later, it's all said and done. All said and done. And I won't bug you guys anymore. You guys don't have to, see me anymore. We'll get right into the deck profile. So here we go. Kicking things off, we have two Odd Eyes Arc Pendulum Dragons. Again, sorry if I sound nasally to you guys. My allergies are acting up real bad. But anyway, so this is a great searcher for the card. He has no monster effect because he's a normal monster. But when he's in the Pendulum Zone and one of your monsters gets destroyed by battle or card effect, he brings out an Odd Eyes monster. From literally anywhere. I think it's from face-up extra deck, graveyard, or deck or hand. So anywhere you have an Odd Eyes card, he'll bring it out if one of your monsters gets destroyed. So he's also a high scale of 8. So I had an issue with this deck having like unbalanced scales and hands in the last build. This build helps to fix that a lot, and this card continues to help fix that issue. So moving on. Two Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragons. This is the OG, Pendulum Dragon guy. You all know him. He can double any battle damage he does, and stuff like that. He uses a low rank, and then you can bring him out and go into rank 7s and stuff like that. His effects aren't, too important, but, oh no, he does the piercing battle damage, I believe. But either way, you don't really use his effects too much. You mostly use him as a big body on field and to go into other rank 7 plays. Or even link plays if you want. One Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph Dragon. You never use the Pendulum effect of this guy because it's meant for ritual cards. It's a ritual search. But he is another low scale. And his effect is that any time your opponent special summons a monster, they take 300 damage. Okay. Sorry, this card's still new to me. I'm still kind of memorizing what this card does. So when it's on the field, it's an extra negate. When an opponent activates an effect, you can send it to a pendulum scale, and then it will negate that effect. So this might actually get bumped up to 2. This deck is pretty close to 40. I think it's either 41 or 44 or something like that. If I decide to bump this card up to 50 or something, which I might end up doing just so I can fit more stuff because the deck count is lower, but I feel like I don't see the cards as much as I would like to, even though the deck count is lower, if that makes any sense. If that ends up being too bricky, I'll go back down to 1, but you can also leave a lot of the Odd Eyes cards at 1 because Arc Dragon searches them a lot, and you can search Arc Dragon pretty easily. But this is still being play tested. I feel like this card gets a little overlooked. I think you should give it a try. Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon, the manga boss monster of all of them, all the Odd Eyes cards. You really don't, you can use its pendulum effect sometimes to bring back a dragon monster of either pendulum, exceed, synchro, or fusion, which a lot of your magicians actually act like that. So this is another card I thought about bumping up to 3 because it's a good searcher, and you can also ditch it to add a level 8 or lower dragon pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. So he's a great searcher, and he can revive stuff from the graveyard, so he might be getting bumped up as well. It just, when you don't need him, he's a pretty big brick. That's really the only big issue with him, but if he is a brick, you can usually just ditch him for an Odd Eyes card. But that also kind of can suck sometimes if you don't need an Odd Eyes card. So that's why he's only at 1. But like I said, this deck is still having a lot of playtesting done, and it's not a bad deck whatsoever. It's just needs a little bit of fine tweaking, you know. 3 double Irish magicians. That was it for the Odd Eyes package, at least monster-wise, for the main deck. These guys are the heart and soul of the deck. You want to see this guy all the time. You put him into one of your pendulum scales, pop him, and then you can start search a pendulum graph card. Which, yeah, and he's a high rank again, so he's also always treated as a pendulum dragon monster, so there's that. You can bring him back with Revolution and all that. So, yeah, this guy, I'm so glad we got him at 3, and 3 is what he's staying at. 1 White Wing Magician. I play this to help with synchro plays a little bit, and it's another low rank. I know this card gets overlooked a lot in the deck, but honestly, I think you should give it a try because it's another low rank. Its effects aren't that bad, and it actually does come up a fair amount. It's an extra body for, or extra searcher for the one magician card to search out. That she's when she's pendulum summoned, she brings out her another level 4 magician monster. So this is another target for that. It doesn't matter that she's a tuner because you can just overlay. That's what you do anyway most of the time to go into rank 4. So your other magician that was special summoned doesn't get banished. But we'll talk about that more later. 1 Black Fang. This might get bumped up to 2. His pendulum effect basically is that what Black Rebellion XE Dragon did. He has an opponent's monster and makes a Dark Spellcaster type monster gain that attack. So yeah, he's pretty useful. Not a bad card at all. 1 Purple Poison Magician. Another low scale. This guy used to come up more often, but now not quite as much, but he's still staying at 1, especially because he's another low scale. 1 Performable Celestial Magician. This is another really great card. He has a different effect for each, for whatever kind of dragon monster you'd have in the field. Pendulum, Exceed, Fusion, stuff like that. So he's also a high scale, and he may actually end up getting bumped to 2 because he's just that good of a card. He's a level 4, and if you have an Exceed monster in the field, which you probably do by the time you bring him out, or you can even bring him out like later on first turn while you have already did your Exceed plays and stuff, and he'll have 3,000 attack as a level 4. This guy is an awesome card. Comes up all the time. 3 Crobat Joker, or Skull Crobat Joker, whatever. Another high scale main searcher of the deck. I'm glad we got this guy back at 3 again. We definitely needed him. But yeah, you normal summon him and he adds any like performable Odd Eyes or Pendulum card from your deck to your hand, and so he searches literally anything you need in the deck. Most of the time, I'll end up getting Monkey Board or various things like that, or Double Iris a lot too. This is just a fantastic card. You definitely have to run it at 3. 3 Wisdom Eye Magicians. This is one of the cards that I ran at 1 in the previous build, which was a real stupid idea because I was like, oh, I'll just search it. Well, searching it takes up another resource when you could have just had this in your hand and had that resource and this card instead of something else. So I bumped this card up to 3. I've been really trying to think my decks through a little bit more and, you know, just make them a little bit better. So yeah, this going up to 3 was definitely a big, huge change for the better. 3 Oath Dragons. This is another card that was at 1 or maybe 2 in the previous build. I can't quite remember. But yeah, this is another card that can recycle your resources. Another low scale. Like I said, I had a problem with having too many big scales in my hand in the last deck. So bumping this up to 3 as well also helped with that that low scale because he's a 2, so he can essentially bring out anything in the deck as long as you have the corresponding scale over here. So yeah, you have like a 2 and an 8, you're good. You can bring out pretty much anything. So yeah, this going at 3 was another, you know, big change for the deck. For my deck at least, putting 3 in. So I recommend 3 of this guy. 1 Performable Pendulum Sorcerer. If he's another low scale, and if he's in the Pendulum zone, he can make your monsters gain 1,000 attack during the damage phase, so he can boost your guys so you don't get ran over. And he's also another searcher. If he's special summoned or Pendulum summoned, you can destroy your scales and then add two performable cards from your deck to your hand. I think it's any like face-up Pendulum monsters you control. But yeah, he searches 2 new performable cards. Some people run him at 2, but I think 1 is just fine. 3 Harmonizing Magician. This is the monster I was talking about when it's Pendulum summoned. You can special summon another dark Pendulum Magician monster from your deck, but it's banished when it leaves the field. So most of the time when I bring this out, I won't go into Synchro or a Link. I will bring out usually like Double Iris, and I'll go in an overlay for a rank 4. What you could also do is link off with them, which can do some kind of cool things. I'll show you guys later with that. But yeah, this is a pretty good card, and I think I'm going to keep it at 3. 1 Tuning Magician. I understand why people have started running this at 3, but I don't think it's necessary to run it at 3. You know, the deck runs fine with it at 1, so I think 1 is what I'm going to keep it at. I'm only running 1 so I could try and make a little bit more room for Odd Eyes cards without making the deck extremely over 40, which might end up happening anyway. If I end up going to like 50 or 60, this might end up going to 3, but it's probably not. I'm going to be honest. If you guys feel differently, you run it at 3. 1 Astrograph Searcher, Sorcerer, another low rank, but you always bring this guy out. This is a great card. I'm glad we got it back. 1 Monkey Board. I'll usually, he's another low scale, and you can search, like, Joker and stuff with him. A lot of people were kind of, like, a little iffy on putting him in, like, a Pendulum Magician deck. I'm not really too sure why people were like that, or if you guys know anyone that was like that, but some of the people on some of my groups and other comment sections of other videos didn't like this card being in Pendulum Magicians for some reason, but it's a really good card for the deck, so I definitely say give it a try. 1 Abyss Actor, Curtain Raiser, yeah. So another low scale, and if you control no monsters, you can special summon him. So it comes up a lot. If you control no other monsters, he gains 1100 attack as well, so he becomes a 2200 body. Again, if I bump up the deck count, he's going to go to 3 because this is actually a good card. But if you see it like in late game and you already have an established field, it's not that good. 1 Odd Eye Synchron. You can use this to go into synchro plays. There's also another play I use this for. So, yeah, when you see that, this will make a little bit more sense. 1 Luster Pendulum of the Draco Slayer. You use this to go into your Draco Synchro. Otherwise, he's a pretty good card. You can destroy a Pendulum card and add another one to your hand with the same name. So you can pop like Wisdom Eye or Double Iris, get its effect off, and get another one to your hand. So, yeah, this is a great card for the deck, and I definitely recommend running it. 3 Chronograph and the 1 Time Gazer. This is pretty good. If he is... basically, this guy brings out this guy, and that's about it. He has some pretty cool effects. But, yeah, I recommend running this package. It's pretty good. It's high scale, and the effects come up a lot. I think he stops traps and stuff like that. And his scale can change. But, yeah, this is a pretty good package, so I definitely recommend running it at 3. Or, 3 in the 1. 1 Lady Ange. This is a little bit of a more techie test card that I'm trying from, I believe, Dimension Force. Basically, you can ditch this and another performable or odd eyes card and draw a card. It's also another low scale. So, once per turn, when an attack is declared involving your monster and an opponent's monster, you can discard 1 Pendulum monster, and your opponent's monster loses 1000 attack. So, not only is this a low scale and a searcher, but if you have it like in your scale as a 1, and your opponent goes to attack you, you can deal some damage to them, save yourself. But it'll also make your opponent try and get around this card, or even if they just say screw it and they attack through it, if you survive, you have a little bit of easier time taking them out because they lost at least 1000 life points. Or it comes up, the search effect comes up more often than the pendulum effect, but that rank 1 or the scale 1, it really helps out a lot. 3 Duelist Alliance, really good card. You guys already know that. Searches a crap ton of stuff in the deck. I don't know why you would run this at any less than 3. I feel like I really don't need to explain this any further, so let's move on. 2 Spiral Flame Strikes. This is also only in here because of the odd eyes, obviously. I tend to use this as a searcher a lot to bring out Arc Pendulum Dragon. That's why I only run it at 2. But if you do already have one in your hand, or you have like a pretty good setup, you can play this and just destroy a card in the field. It's actually pretty good, so I think you should recommend trying this, maybe at least at one, if you do run the Odd Eyes package of this deck. Because you can cut the Odd Eyes package of this deck and modify a little bit and be totally fine, but I like the Odd Eyes stuff. I think it opens up a lot of doors and it adds a lot more power to the deck as well. And the cards meld well, so it doesn't really hurt the consistency too much because you have a world of plays, you know. Anyway, 2 Sky Iris. Again, you can destroy a card in the field and bring out a Odd Eyes card or add it to your hand. You can do this to pop your scales, get their effects, and then get an Odd Eyes card to replace it. It might go down to 1, but I like it at 2 for right now. 2 polys. This should be 2 super polys. I don't have them on me right now. But yeah, run this as 2 super polys instead. 1 star Pendulum Graph. You only run 1 because you searched this at off of Double Iris Magician. I will say now I don't run pen call. I don't have any pen calls, but I would definitely just straight up add those 2 pen calls, or I'd probably take out like the one low scale I just showed you, like Ladybug or whatever her name is, for Pendulum Graph or anything like that. I mean Pendulum Call, but this card is good at 1. If you want to run 2, I guess you could. But yeah, definitely run Pendulum Call. I'm sorry I don't have it in this deck profile, but this deck actually runs pretty well without Pen Call. So if you want to try it without it, go for it. Let me know how you guys like it. Last card in the main deck is Time Pendulum Graph. Search this, protects yourself. Yeah, great card. So with the main deck out of the way, let's get into the extra deck. 1 Hulk for the extra deck. This guy is what I was talking about. With the that magician. I can never remember Harmonizing Magician. I'm so sorry. Yeah, this is the guy that you go to and a lot with him. And then to complement having the Hulk in here, you have the TG Wonder Magician. When she's special summoned, you can destroy a spell trap on the field. And then when this card is destroyed, you get to draw a card. So these 2 combo really well, especially in this deck. Because if you bring her out, you can pop one of your own scales and get their effects off. 1 Lesser Pendulum. He destroys a pendulum scale on the field and stuff like that. 2850 attack. Kind of an odd attack, but this is a really good card. Definitely recommend playing it. I really like this little package here. Supreme King Dragon Clearwing. It's basically Crystal Wing, but it basically does the entire monster's attack, and it does Crystal Wing in a different way, basically. This is just a really good card. You can't really bring out Crystal Wing easily in this deck, but you can bring out the Supreme King version a little bit easier. 1 Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. This is Dimension Dragon. Had to throw it in, but this is your Super Poly target. You could cut this for like Tornado Dragon or something if you wanted to, if you just cut the Super Polys and then run hand traps instead. 1 Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. You go into this guy with your Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon. So you go into this, and then you can use him to like negate attacks and stuff like that with his effect. It's a 2800 attack body, so is Vortex Dragon. When Absolute Dragon is destroyed, it can special summon a Odd Eyes monster from your extra deck. So you bring out Vortex, and then Vortex pops a card on the field when it's special summoned. So that's it for Link, Synchro, Fusion, and then the rest are all Exceeds. So we have number 11, Big Eye. You can cut this if you want and run something else, like another Link, like Access Code Talker maybe or something like that. And then you could play Change of Heart maybe. But I like this guy because he's a 2600 body. He can just straight up get another monster from your opponent. So your opponent loses a monster. You can use it to link off. A whole bunch of different stuff. I just really like having this card in the deck. Comes up pretty fairly often. 1 Supreme King Dragon Dark Rebellion. This card wins games. That's all I'm going to say. This is a really good card. If you don't try it, I definitely recommend it. It's a great card. It's easy to go in. 1 Abyss Dweller. This is Abyss Dweller. You already know what it does. 1 number, what is that, 82, Heartland Dragon. Basically, when you control a spell or trap, he can't be targeted for attacks. And once per turn, you can detach a material from him and attack directly. So the idea behind him is he can't be attacked, and if your opponent doesn't out him, you get 4k in damage, and then you link off with him. So, yeah, not too bad. I definitely recommend giving it a try. You don't have to. Like I said, this deck is not concrete. Lots of testing going on, and if you guys find something that works better, let me know down in the comments. I just like throwing in these little things. I think it's cool to have, like, number cards from, the Exceed era, with, number 11 and number 82. The Odd Eyes cards, the Synchros from 5Ds, and all that. I just think it's cool that this is, like, the V-Arcs, the V-Rains deck, where it's all the universes and stuff, and I just think it's really cool that we can play, this kind of setup. One thing I did forget to mention, however, in this deck profile is for the extra deck, there's no Beyond Pendulum Magician. Unfortunately, I forgot to mention that when I was going through the extra deck. You can cut pretty much whatever you think is necessary. Probably the Heartlander or Abyss Dweller. Whatever you guys want to cut for Beyond Pendulum, cut for Beyond Pendulum. What I'm probably going to end up doing is cutting the Super Polys and putting in Ashes and some more hand traps. And then replacing the Fusion Dragon with, Beyond Pendulum. So with that out of the way, let's get back into the extra deck. Anyway, number 41, Baguska, the Terribly Tired De Beer. This is one of the number one cards you go into with this deck. This is a great card, just flips everything face down. Time Star Magician. This is another card that you go to a lot because it just searches. It's not super powerful, but attack-wise, but it's a good searcher and it's a pretty good card. If I had more extra deck space, I'd probably bump it up to 2. One Down Magician. This should be pretty obviously what this is for. This is for Link climbing or Exceed climbing into Zeus. So, yeah, this has been my updated Odd Eyes Pendulum Magician deck profile. This deck is way, way, way better than the original one that I saw. If you guys check that out, it was one of my first, like, new or reintroduced Yu-Gi-Oh! Uploads. So, yeah, anyway, I hope you guys liked this video. Like always, let me know what you guys think. And here's my outro. Okay, guys, so that was my Odd Eyes Pendulum Magician deck profile. Again, hope you guys liked it. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and let me know what you want to see next. Obviously, I'm thinking either maybe Despia or Necroz I might do a deck profile on. I also have an updated 60-card version of the Dragon Link deck. My most recent one that you guys have probably all been watching is pretty good, but I felt like it could have been better. And so I decided to bump it up from like 53 up to 60 because I was like, what's the point? Anyway, so I'm sorry, that is neither here nor there. That is for next video. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe, and always, hopefully I'll see you guys next time.